Since the beginning of this year, a special group referred to by netizens as Internet Cafe Gods has emerged in Chinese society. They are mainly idle individuals living in third and fourth-tier cities, using internet cafes as their place of residence, and staying in the environment of internet cafes for long periods.
我家里又没人呐。
For example, the person mentioned below said, I have no family left, my father died, my mother ran away, my grandparents are both dead, the house has collapsed, and I am the only one left on the household registration. Do you think I am afraid of anything? I am not afraid of anything anymore, I only fear not having money to eat today, and not receiving gifts while playing games online because without those gifts, I have no money to stay online. This man is known on the internet platform as the 10-year Internet Cafe God, meaning he has been living in internet cafes for 10 years.
Although the term Internet Cafe God sounds prestigious, their real-life situation is quite the opposite. They are the bottom tier of Chinese society, living very difficult lives, yet unusually free. Without stable jobs and often unable to find work, they solve their daily eating and lodging problems with the lowest material desires. Unlike street homeless people, most of them choose to spend the night in internet cafes, occasionally doing day labor jobs during the day to earn between a few tens to 200 yuan for their living expenses to cover the next overnight stay and internet cafe costs. Some may ask, why don't the internet cafe gods rent a house and get an internet connection? After all, their daily expenses for internet, food, and drink can range from tens to over 100 yuan, totaling thousands of yuan a month. Why not rent a house, set up a computer, and play to their heart's content every day? A netizen who knows the internet cafe gods answered that it is obviously because they can't afford the money to rent a house and get an internet connection. Many internet cafe gods live in cheap daily rental rooms costing between 5 to 21 yuan per day. Typically, they sleep until afternoon or evening, get up for a simple wash, go downstairs for a 12 to 15 yuan fried rice, then buy a 6 yuan large bottle of drink and head straight to the internet cafe, playing until the next morning. After leaving the internet cafe, they have a 3 yuan breakfast, return to the cheap daily rental room, and continue sleeping, repeating the cycle. Including the overnight internet cafe fees, their daily expenses are about 50 to 70 yuan per cycle. The main source of income for internet cafe gods is making money in online games like Fantasy Westward Journey, earning around 30 to 80 yuan per night, barely covering their daily expenses. Of course, sometimes they fail. If their income from online games hovers around the baseline for several consecutive days and they see they are running out of money for food, they will choose to do day labor jobs. These day labor jobs are varied, such as security guards, cashiers, package sorters, factory assembly line workers, and manual labor. On average, a day labor job can bring in 150 to 200 yuan. If the job includes meals, that 150 to 200 yuan is pure profit. With this 150 to 200 yuan, internet cafe gods can sustain at least 10 cycles. Internet cafe gods do 1 to 2 day labor jobs per month, spending the rest of the time in internet cafes and cheap daily rental rooms, truly achieving work one day, rest for half a month. Overall, their financial situation is very tight, often hovering near zero savings for them. Having a bank balance over 100 yuan is considered financially strong, and over 1,000 yuan is a large sum. Renting a house and getting an internet connection requires at least 3,000 yuan, which they simply cannot afford. In other words, anyone who can save up 3,000 yuan is unlikely to become an internet cafe god. A netizen was curious about the internet cafe god, and specifically chatted with one for a while to understand what goes on in their inner world. This god had been intermittently staying at the internet cafe for a year and a half because both of his parents had passed away, leaving him with no one to care for him, thus becoming an internet cafe god. The netizen took this opportunity to chat with him alone, wanting to know step by step how he became an internet cafe god. This god said he was from Guizhou, and he used to study there because his father worked in Shijiazhuang. After his father died of a cerebral hemorrhage, he returned to Guizhou. He is 23 years old this year. Now that his parents have passed away, he only has one sister, but they haven't been in contact for several years, which means no one is taking care of him now. He mentioned that before coming to this internet cafe, he had been at another one because it didn't have air conditioning in the winter, and it was too cold, so he came to this internet cafe with air conditioning. He had been at the previous internet cafe for about 3 years. After his parents passed away, he studied for a year and a half, then worked as a waiter for 2 years, earning 1,800 yuan per month. Later, feeling bored, he went to the internet cafe to play for a while, spent the rest of his money, and then found a job again. That's how he gradually found the internet cafe interesting. Upon hearing his story, the netizen felt that the internet cafe had harmed him. But that God said it wasn't the internet cafe that harmed him, but because he had nowhere else to go and no house, so he could only entertain himself in the internet cafe. Without the internet cafe, he might do something else. In the internet cafe, he has no other hobbies besides surfing the internet, and in the online world, he can become a king and be respected by everyone. The netizen said he must have thought about the future, which is something that can be gradually changed and achieved on his own. The netizen felt that this age was the time to strive, but he chose to lie flat in the internet cafe. The God then explained that he wasn't lying flat just because he was on the internet in the internet cafe, it was an added word by others. He was just resting and playing games in the internet cafe. The netizen was concerned that he didn't have any savings now, so what would he do if he got sick? The God replied that he could endure minor illnesses on his own, but major illnesses would be beyond his ability to bear, so he would have to leave it to fate. The netizen asked if he had ever thought about starting a family and having children in the future. The God said he had definitely thought about it, but now everyone is so practical, and he doesn't have the ability, so it's difficult to achieve. There are many internet cafe gods like this. Besides internet cafes, in order to minimize expenses, they sometimes choose to live in abandoned, undecorated houses. Typically, their beds are just simple plastic mats, and their quilts are very worn out. Their personal hygiene is poor, they have few daily necessities, and their lives seem very poignant. In the living area, one can see trash everywhere and makeshift stoves. These are their main places for preparing food. When they want to take a bath, they take shampoo to clean up in the internet cafe's restroom. Then, they order some barbecue and beer, returning once again to the cramped internet cafe cubicle, starting their most important activity of the day. Playing games all night long. These so-called internet cafe experts are typically young people who appear to be in their prime working years. They often belong to marginalized groups in society, living in environments marked by economic pressure and social isolation. Their choices and lifestyles reflect some of the deeper issues and challenges present in society. Firstly, they may face difficulties related to family or personal backgrounds, such as lack of family support or economic stability. These factors can make it difficult for them to secure stable jobs or housing, leading them to choose a relatively low-cost lifestyle, such as living and gaming in internet cafes. Secondly, their lifestyle may reflect a tendency to avoid or escape challenges in real life. Faced with high rent, living costs, and social competition, spending most of their time in internet cafes may become a way to evade reality, as these cafes offer a comparatively inexpensive and comfortable environment. Moreover, their way of life often relies on the charity of others. They may lie down on the roadside, in parks, or on wasteland with just a blanket. They are reluctant to find a decent job. If they don't have the necessities of life today, they will choose to do casual work for a day, and then rest for 3 days. However, after 3 days, they will find that life has not changed, so they will go back to work for a day. This is what they call the goddess life. These internet cafe experts almost treat internet cafes as their homes, because internet cafes are warm in winter and cool in summer. Dozens of internet cafe experts can easily gather in one internet cafe, as long as they do not go to work on a daily basis. But if there is no daily work, these gods may not exist. Why say that? In fact, they are not unwilling to work, but their requirements are very simple, as long as they can eat enough. If they work on a daily basis, they can rest for 3 to 5 days. Once such inertia is developed, they can no longer grow. There are also some so-called kind-hearted people who occasionally provide these internet cafe experts with some food and accommodation. However, if we really have kindness, we should go to those remote mountain villages or care for the elderly, weak, and disabled, and do more substantial help for them. For those young people in the prime of their lives, we should encourage them to be more positive and strive to change their life situations, rather than nurturing the existence of these gods.